The Fresno Focus Radio Hour. This is the No Focus Radio Hour. Comedy and insight from the greatest minds in Fresno. A Lightomine Media production. That's right. This is the No Focus Radio Hour, the #1 independent podcast in the Central Valley. Thank you for listening and thank you for telling a friend. The No Focus Radio Hour is available anywhere podcasts can be found, including YouTube and any of your home smart speakers or smart devices. Remember to subscribe and please do leave a review. It really does help others discover our show. And while you're reviewing, keep in mind that 5 stars is the correct number of stars. If you enjoy our show, do share it with your friends, but if you hate it, share it with your enemies. Check out our site, nofocusradio.com. There you can get exclusive content. You can join our Discord server. You can become a member of the No Focus Club. You can listen to our other shows. You can vote on Don's polls. Find us on social media. Our handle is at No Focus Radio. You can find the rest of our shows at lightominemedia.com.
Running just as fast as I can.
It's really good.
Gonna hit the ground running to my favorite podcast in Yeah.
Wow, very nice.
I wasn't sure if you guys were coming in with me on that.
That was good. They sounded good. We're getting better and better.
So the voice lessons.
Yeah.
This is the No Focus Radio Hour, the #1 independent podcast in the Central Valley. It's made for those who live in the Central Valley. It's made for those who miss the Central Valley, for those who long to live in the Central Valley, and for those who
want to save the Morro Bay stacks in the Central Valley.
Oh, that's
From
right.
the Central Valley.
From the Central Valley.
Yeah.
Oh, of the Central Valley.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just making
We
things
could
up
move
now.
the stacks here to the Central Valley.
That's not a bad idea.
I love that idea.
We can
Good
call
point.
ourselves 3 Stacks and a Water Tower.
Yeah.
3 stacks and a tower.
3 stacks and a tower.
We could have
3
a brewery.
stacks.
3 stacks and some smog.
3 stacks and a no focus.
I like it.
3 stacks and a no focus show.
Wow.
I don't know how can
About
we
3 stacks and screw you, Kevin Musso.
Hey!
Are you still on that part?
Yes.
Hey,
Oh my God.
Hashtags.
who do we have with us today, Max?
We have with us our beautiful cast of characters. We have with us always Mr. Eric the Doorman.
Hey, Fresno, what is up? Yes, I don't know why Stu has such a thing against Kevin Musso. I feel bad for that guy.
It's complicated.
Is
He
it?
hates him.
Oh, okay. All right.
We also- yeah, go. You do the
And
intro.
we also have the one, the only, back from the 3 stacks with seagull poop still on him and duct tape. We have our own Stu Padasso.
You know, at Morro Bay, the entire protest took a lot out of me. I was
Did it?
duct taped to the stacks for 3.5 days, and I learned really some fundamental truths.
Okay. What are
And
they?
it's that money and greed is the only way to go.
Oh, okay,
Screw
good.
everything
Good.
else, money and greed.
I like that.
Yeah, and also
Nice.
police tasers do make you lose your bowel movements.
Really?
And, you pee your pants a lot,
Okay.
Oh,
which
okay.
adds to the conductivity of the electricity.
I
So-
hope you changed your shorts
Tase-
before you came in the show.
Tasers make you lose control of your bowel movements.
Yes.
Is that a show title?
That's the show title. I was just making sure that's what he
That's
said.
what I said.
Okay,
because-
that's good.
That's crazy.
That's how they got me off the stacks.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
also, I have no hair on my arms or legs because they just ripped the duct tape off. And
Oh.
ceremoniously, they didn't. They just ripped it off. It was
Really?
Yeah. I
So
passed out.
it's pretty good. So people that want to do instead of waxing, they could just go duct
yeah.
tape themselves.
I highly
and-
suggest it.
3
I know how
stacks
smooth
and a
my
wax.
legs are.
3 stacks and a wax.
3 stacks and a wax.
I like it.
There it is.
Nice. And so 3 stacks and a wax guy over there is our very own
They call me.
Johnny Knobs. Hey, Johnny.
Yeah.
Why do they call you Johnny Knobs?
Well, that's a good question.
I don't think we've ever heard this story
You've
before.
never heard why
We've never
they
heard
call
this
me
story.
Johnny
I don't
Knobs?
think we've ever heard it, have we?
That's really,
I might have purposely
really
forgot it.
interesting.
I'm blocking it out.
So I'll actually tell you why. I'll tell you why they call
Okay.
me Johnny.
Does it have to do with the 3 stacks?
Actually, no. So I got, it's a true story. British slang, being a knob. A lot of people think that being a knob is like being a penis, right? What
Oh,
people
okay.
don't know, though, is that being a knob actually means being extremely attractive and really cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So
In your
like
world, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of times people will be like, Max, when I was living in, this was like 20, this was like the early knots, if you will. That's what they call aughts, the aughts.
Okay.
The early aughts. I was living in London at the time.
Okay. Oh,
And
wow.
yeah.
I didn't
And a
know
lot
this
of people
part.
would be like, hey, Johnny. I'd be like, yeah. They'd be like, you're such a knob, man. And I'd be like, well, thank you. Because everybody thought I was so cool and extremely attractive.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
just
see
like
it, yeah.
So
You're
what
such
happened?
an American knob.
Yeah, and what happened was, I had this when I lived there. I started talking like this, man, all the time,
Like a
Yeah.
beetle.
like all
You're
the
like a Beatle,
time.
like
Yeah,
the Beatles.
people would start calling me Johnny, like John Lennon, but I was so cool. They'd call me Johnny, you're a knob. Let's say Johnny Knob, and that's where I got my name because I was so cool and attractive. And because I was like kind of like John Lennon, I'd be invited to the clubs all the time. I didn't play guitar or sing, but I would sit next to the amplifier and I would control the volume. That's why. That's where the name comes from. Yeah,
Great
Johnny
stuff.
Knob.
Nice. Oh, wow.
Hey,
I never
Johnny
knew
Knob.
that.
Yeah.
Never knew that.
Yeah.
Hey, before we get started today, I did have a couple of questions here. Now, we had our very own Stu, even though he was protesting, he provided us a great show called Stu,
No Focus and
the
Retrograde.
No Focus and
yeah.
Retrograde
Yeah.
from our very own Stupid Asso.
If you guys haven't heard it, a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah,
you can
there's
hear
a lot of
about
good information.
the size of the stacks, the rock, what the rock is. It's a volcanic plug.
It was a plug. We
lot of
actually
stuff,
on
yeah.
our podcast, we were the day we did it, we were wondering what that was. Remember,
Yeah,
I said, is
that's
it a
right.
plug? Is
Yeah,
it
yeah.
just a rock?
Great.
And so, but here's my question: you had mentioned you had likened the stacks to pyramids.
Yes.
Okay. And my question is, do you think that maybe those stacks were built by ancient aliens?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they were originally built to scare off the Koju, like
Oh, okay.
Godzilla.
Ah.
All the
Oh,
giant
interesting.
monsters that would come up out of the sea, they would see these giant stacks
Okay.
and think it was another monster because of the red lights on top.
Oh, gotcha.
And so they would think it was glowing eyes. They go, oh my gosh, there's a giant monster up there. And so the Koju would leave.
So that thing had electricity then before, I mean, even in prehistoric and ancient days.
Oh,
you're
yeah,
talking about,
that's all it was creating electricity.
creating electricity
Yeah.
from just who knows what, because it was just like magical. It's just like maybe from
Yeah,
the
then they
aliens.
realized it's natural
Interesting.
gas, and then they thought, hey, we can make a lot more electricity from this thing.
Interesting.
So, yeah, they were there in ancient times. The Indians built it back when
Oh,
they held the rock
gotcha.
sacred. Yeah.
Well, you know, and then the other question I had too. Now you mentioned, okay, so the Moral Rock is actually it is a plug, a volcanic plug.
yeah.
So here was a
And there are
thought.
11 of them.
11 plugs.
Yeah, if you go from, if you get on the road and go up towards San Luis Obispo,
Okay.
you could see these large, jaggedy mountains, and you could also
Protruding
see
out.
some other little smaller plugs
Okay.
along the way, and it's called they call them the Seven Sisters, even though there are 11 of them. But they're all volcanic plugs along the way, and you could find them.
7 sisters, and then the other ones are just like maybe stepsisters. Nobody
I
cares
guess
about
so.
them.
Yeah, the
Interesting.
sisters you don't
Yeah.
talk about.
Well, you know, my question was this. Okay, so I was thinking now they're going to turn that into they're going to get rid of the stacks.
Yes.
They're going to put a bunch of lithium-ion batteries in there
That's a proposal. They
They're
haven't
trying
done
to turn
agree to
that
it yet, but I think they're going
into
to,
an
'cause
energy
it's the dumbest
capturing station, right? So I guess
Yeah.
all the electrical energy that's extra from the grid will from who knows where will go into there.
All
will
that
be saved.
extra. We get so much extra
Yeah,
electricity.
energy. Well, it's that
Electricity
solar,
that-
all that
yeah.
solar.
Yeah,
right?
we
got
get so much energy now.
so much
Yeah, it's
energy,
great.
all
Yeah,
that
yeah.
electrical energy will go in there. And here's my thinking: a couple of things. One, I'm wondering. Here's what we should do. I think we should actually figure out a way to create a generator from a volcano because. Here's my thinking.
It's geothermal electricity.
That geothermal
They do
electricity.
it in Iceland.
Oh,
Yeah.
they do. It's already there. Oh, we don't have to create it. It's
They don't have
ready
to
to
create
go.
anything now.
Good. Okay, so we got to
we're
get
done.
ready.
We're
We got to
done.
get ready and build it around Moral
Yeah.
Rock. And when that energy station, those lithium-ion batteries catch fire,
Yeah.
and they melt that plug and reactivate that volcano, then we can capture all that energy from the volcano. We'll be ready to go. You see
That's
what I'm
a
saying?
great idea.
Do you understand where I'm going with this?
Yeah, we could get all this steam from the ocean and use it to make fresh water.
Yeah.
That'd
Yeah.
be great. We
That
have a
would, that
whole
would be awesome.
working model
I'm sure
here.
there's no regulations against that, right?
No, I'm sure. I think we
Okay.
start building
Yeah.
it
Because
now.
I know that plant with all those lithium-ion batteries that someday is just going to catch fire and probably Morro Bay or just be on fire forever. And then at that point, right?
Yeah, because
years and years.
like with Tesla batteries, when they catch on fire, it takes forever to put them out.
They burn for years.
They burn for a long, long,
Yeah.
long time.
So anyway.
So that big thing's just going to be a big flaming mess.
Yeah, and it's going to so close to the rock, it's going to melt it, and that plug's going to go away, and then that volcano's going to reactivate. And
Yeah, and all the birds are going to mutate and attack people and grow to tremendous size.
Oh, I
and then
didn't
we'll
think
have
about that.
Mothra and
Anyway.
Rodan.
Okay, sorry to take you guys down that
The
road.
smog
No, but-
monster.
But that's actually a really
We'll need
good.
the stacks back to scare the kaiju.
Oh my goodness, the kaiju.
What is that?
It's the kaiju. They're coming.
Oh, they're walking. I wasn't sure if something was exploding there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Can you hear them?
Yeah.
Can you feel them?
Did you bring them with you?
I brought them with me. Yeah.
Yeah, but geothermal power, Iceland, Marty brought this up. I think they have like 30% of their energy comes from geothermal volcanic energy, and the rest
Wow.
comes from hydropower, none of which is sustainable, by the way. So you got to be there. Yeah.
Because the Earth is eventually going to cool down.
Can't use that. You can't use that sort of energy. You got to
good
get
point.
rid of the geothermal. You
Yeah.
got to get rid of the hydro, and you got to replace it with solar
Yeah,
panels.
just solar panels and wind machines. Yeah.
Yeah, you really got to get rid of them because, you can't trust all that, Earth.
No, you can't trust that Earth energy.
Can't
You're
trust-
right. The
yeah.
only renewable
Screw
resources
nature,
are
yeah.
wind and solar. That's it.
Well, that and also tearing down our forests and burning it. That's renewable.
Oh, bio.
Yeah, biomass. That's renewable.
Biomass. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't believe you didn't know that, Eric.
The forest.
Jeez.
Well, the forests are burning on their
Yeah,
own.
they're
so
burning
I don't-
themselves,
Yeah,
so
they're burning
all we gotta-
themselves. There's nothing left.
All we
there,
got to do is
right?
figure out how to get electricity from that.
Yeah. We just have to
We'll
put a
bring in
big, like
big
a big
boilers
tent.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
but
Yeah.
something over there to capture all that.
If Iceland only realized that it's such a fool's errand that they're doing right now.
Yes.
And if all they did was rip down their forests, shred all their trees, and burn it,
And put solar panels all where the trees were.
then they could finally get off all of their like unnatural, non-renewable energy.
yeah, they can be as cool
Good
as
point.
California.
They can
Come
start
on.
becoming like California.
Good point, guys. Didn't even think about that.
So they're so stupid.
Silly
So
Iceland.
stupid.
Silly.
So have you guys heard? I don't know if you
I've
guys heard this.
Heard what?
2035,
Speaking
they have
of
decided
renewables.
to. Did they actually sign the California Air Resources Board? Did they actually sign the bill on Thursday?
Which bill? Which bill? are
The
we
bill
talking
that says that by 2035, all new cars, pickups, and SUVs sold in the state of California must be electric or hydrogen. Is that signed?
I think they did. See, they
signed,
voted,
right?
to pass the proposed regulations banning.
See, I would
Yeah.
buy a hydrogen car in a hot second if they had the infrastructure to support it, because I do not want to go to
Right.
Kalinga, wait in line
How-
to get fuel.
How does that? Wait, okay, hold on. Now, how does that work? So the Air Resources Board, who's an unelected group,
Yes.
CARB,
Yeah.
right? California Air Resources Board, CARB.
Yeah.
It's an unelected group of people. They made a proposal. Now, does that go to the state? Does anybody actually vote on this, or is this just all of a sudden into law because they say so? How does that work?
You know,
Do you know? Does anybody know?
I just know that there is a
Okay, here's what it says. I'm sorry. Let me just make this clear. It says the California Resources Air Board. This is a story we're going to get to after this. Voted Thursday to pass proposed regulations banning the sale of internal combustion engines by 2035
right.
in California. So they just pass proposed regulations. So that's what they do. They just regulate it. It's not really a law, but they just regulate it.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
I guess that answers that question.
So it's a non-story.
Huh?
Because if nothing happens from it, it's just a non-story.
What do you mean? What do you mean? If nothing happens from it?
So it's a proposed thing. Are we going to? Okay, so they haven't signed it into law yet. It's just a proposal right now.
Well, it's a proposal, proposed regulations. But what my point is, do they create the regulations, or does it have to go to the state? The state has to pass it.
Well, it'd have to be passed by somebody, I would think.
Would it?
I think
No.
That's the question.
Well, since it affects everybody, I think the state of California, the voters, us people, should be able to vote on this thing.
But you have
'Cause it affects
that's a
us.
key word there. Should. We should, but that's one of the tricks about these unelected groups, right? Is that there's actually, I don't know if you guys ever heard of the book Philip Drew Administrator.
No, huh?
All right. So Philip Drew Administrator, it's called Philip Drew Administrator, A Story of Tomorrow.
Okay.
And what that book was, it was about, it was written by Edward House. And it was, Woodrow Wilson was a big fan of this book. And what this book was, he was such a big fan of this book that he apparently carried it with him everywhere and essentially ran his government essentially based off of this idea. I'm actually going to pull up some info really quick.
Oh man, we're going down some.
Sorry, this is a rabbit hole. This is important.
This is a good one. This is a good one. No, I can tell this is a good one.
This is an important one.
Wow.
Okay.
I didn't know it was going to lead here.
So there are two.
I'm excited.
So Edward House
Yes.
was great friends with Woodrow Wilson.
Okay.
It says here that they were their closest political allies. The idea of this book, though, was that you could run, if you start running a government, Philip Drew essentially was in the book. It's about this benevolent dictator, right? A benevolent dictator,
okay,
who's going to create utopia in their country. And the idea was that you can run a country by doing these things. You can get rid of the Constitution, and you don't need to pass laws as long as you do it through administration.
Okay.
Administration, like unelected officials.
Yeah.
Right? That was literally the entire point of the book. So there would be, so it says here, set in 1920 to 1935, House's hero, the book, leads the democratic Western United States in a civil war against the East. After becoming the acclaimed leader of the country, he steps down, having restored justice and democracy through administration by creating Federal Incorporation Act, which with government and labor representation on the board of every corporation. Public service corporations must share their net earnings with the government. Government ownership of the following: telegraphs, telephones, communication, railroad, old age pension law reform, workmen's insurance law, co-op marketing and land banks, free employment bureaus, 8-hour workdays, 6 days a week, labor not to be a commodity, government arbitration of industrial disputes, government ownership of all health care, all through administration. So just like this, the idea was you would create unelected official groups,
unelected bureaucrats, yeah,
that could run the country. And then eventually you kind of slowly get rid of the Constitution because you're not voting for anything. These groups run everything. And that was a very key book for the Wilson presidency and how he did a lot of things to move that forward as well.
Yes. Interesting.
So that's how this works. It's this idea of you create these groups, and then you don't have to vote because you have these groups that run everything.
Well, you know what? I mean, you're opening my eyes here, Max, because this really explains administrations for at least the last 20 years and probably since Woodrow Wilson.
Yes, it explains it exactly 100%.
I mean, it really does.
It explains it from the 20s.
Because you wonder, why does the Air Board have so much power to tell me how to live my life when I never voted for these guys?
Right.
I don't know who they are. So who are they to tell me what to do with my life? And these guys are coming in, and I've seen it where the Air Resources Board will go into a supervisor meeting, a public meeting, and basically tell the county, this is how you're going to run your county, as far as their power goes, which is relating to pollution and air regulations and stuff.
Yeah.
This is how you're going to do it. I've seen it firsthand. From these people, and they act like they have all this power, and I'm like, how could they tell a board of supervisors in a county what to do? And this makes total sense.
Yep.
I'm really shocked right now.
Yeah.
I'm really kind of shocked, to be honest.
I can actually, I'll send you, I'll post this in the show notes. There's a journal article I can post from the American Studies Association. This is a peer-reviewed journal, whatever that means. But essentially, they said this is an article from, this is probably a long time ago, 1971. And they talk about Philip Drew, the book. And it talks about how he moved into national political prominence in the era of Woodrow Wilson because he gained confidence of Wilson during the 1912 presidential election. And the book was, let me see the word I just got here. Let me see what it says. It is considered a textbook for the administration principles of government.
Interesting.
So it's literally it's like one of the most influential members of Woodrow's cabinet. So it really is.
Well, because we're seeing it in everyday life. I mean, obviously, we've got a lot of topics to talk about, but not to get too far out. But obviously, we're seeing it, right? Executive powers. Obama had them, and he was signing stuff left and right.
Right.
And I know he was an elected official, but you're wondering, wait, how are they able to do this and circumvent what we were taught as the governmental process?
Right.
For things to come into law that affect our lives.
Yeah.
And then locally and statewide, you see it too, where things are just signed in, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. So the book.
How does that happen?
Edward House had described this once as a novel that describes the overthrow of the U.S. government in favor of a socialist regime through governmental administrators.
Yeah, and then you have the people.
Wow.
The people in the administration going after their own personal self-interest, so they make the law,
Of course.
so that they can make more money.
Yeah. So
Well, of course, but it's like but the machine feeds itself. In
Yeah.
other words, it keeps going, but it keeps going to that end of complete takeover.
Right.
Like you say, the people they don't vote because they don't have any reason to vote.
Yeah, we have no say.
It's not like you're telling the people we're taking away the vote. It's just that there's no reason to vote.
right.
So why do it?
Yeah, because it doesn't
And
matter anymore.
This is a rabbit hole. I'm glad we went down, but this is a shocker for me.
Yeah, so that's
See,
a big
another
one for you.
time, Max
Have you-
blows your mind.
I
Sorry.
know he's amazing. Have you heard about this before, Stu? Have you heard anything about this guy? This Philip.
no,
this
no.
book.
The book.
Philip,
I have not heard of the book.
Yeah.
No.
or
Yeah,
this
it's-
was his
it-
name.
it-
House. What was this guy's name?
Yeah, Edward House. And
Edward
it's really,
House,
it
yeah.
is something you should really
Where the concept doesn't surprise me. Like a benevolent dictator is the best government to have, but the problem is finding someone who's truly a benevolent dictator, and when he goes out of power, who's coming in?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
that-
it's really key because literally what this book did is it really, him and Wilson, he was also one of the key members, House was one of the key people to help craft Woodrow's New Deal. Because remember, the New Deal, nobody voted on the New Deal. And all the programs that came with the New Deal, which is most of the programs that we have now that run our life, were formed within the New Deal, right? So much of that came from, hey, let's create all these government programs that are run by administrators you can never get rid of, and the president gets to...
Yeah, that's when we were in the throes of a depression.
Right.
Depression, and they had to have
Problem-
the new
let's go back
deals
to the-
get us out of the depression.
Yeah,
Let's
and
go back to the
idea
Hegelian dialectic.
Exactly.
Right? Problem, reaction, solution.
Uh-huh.
It
Exactly.
all ties in.
Look at
yeah.
you being all knowledgeable.
Uh-huh.
I just like throwing that around.
You
That's
have
the
a problem.
That's the
How are
only
we
thing I know.
Yeah. How are we gonna get what we want? How are we gonna create a government
Yeah.
that's run by administrators? We can solve it with this problem.
I don't want to get into it now, but it would be interesting to go someday to do a deep dive into the Great Depression and find out if that thing was staged, if that was purposely crashed, or if it was kind of nudged in that direction to take control. But let's not. I don't want to go down that.
We just need a good conspiracy theorist to lead us. And there we have Max.
Hey, what do you know? It's not
conspiracy.
a conspiracy theory if it's a theory. It's a conspiracy fact if you have the facts behind
It's
it.
true.
there you
It's
go.
a conspiracy factus. He's a
Yes,
conspiracy
yes.
factus.
If you have all the
Conspiracy
facts
factor.
and you back them up with actual facts, then it's not a theory. Then it's
Wow.
just there are conspiracies
Well,
that are true.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll jump ahead here and I'll say, okay, so we talked about it a little bit. So this all kind of leads into, and before we get to the your story there, Max. So
Yeah.
we kind of talked about it. So the Air Forces Board basically is saying, California, yes, they agree with the governor.
Yep.
'Cause the governor had an executive order. They agree with him that by 2035 they want 0%. It says, what is it? By 2035, they want zero emission vehicles to be sold, right?
Yes.
In California. So
Yes.
in other words, and then of course along the way, they're going to have different points. By 2026, the regulations will require 35% of passenger vehicles and light duty trucks to have zero emissions. This will increase to 51% in 2028, and then of course the 100% in 2035. Which is very interesting. How in the world, when our grid is falling apart, we have no power. Our power is the prices for power is through the roof.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we're going to all be attached to these electrical vehicles
Yeah, it's like,
that
why
pollute,
look-
that
why-
are more polluting,
Yeah.
making these things, manufacturing them with the precious metals and stuff, than a regular gas engine over the lifetime.
Yeah.
Of both a gas engine car and electrical vehicle outweighs them and more pollution.
And no idea how to really decommission them properly.
Yeah. So anyway, that was the story. So that's what's coming, California.
Yeah, that's going to be rough. And also, keep in mind, I want everybody to understand that at this point, what people don't realize, as of 2022, that's this year, under 1% of all cars are fully electric. Under 1%.
So in 4 years, they want, 35%.
Yeah. We have under 1%
in 4
right
years.
now. Think about how insane that is.
So what they're saying too is that, there are some, like, in other words, all the cars that are bought supposedly you can keep. It'll be like that thing where it's like, well, trade in your car and get a government subsidy to buy an electrical vehicle, right?
Yep.
But you can keep your car, but it'll be once there's a certain point that comes, you can't buy a car in California. And we already know, we talked about stories before, LA's shutting down gas stations. They're going to make it hard. I mean, it's not like you say, I'll go to Nevada and buy a car and come back over here. No, what'll happen is they'll probably make the smog restrictions so stringent.
Oh, right.
It doesn't matter where you buy it. You'll have to pass the smog with your gas car. Then you have to find gas.
Well, yeah, the other thing is
$10 a gallon.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is people don't realize is that California is a really big economy, right? So if California passes a law that says things like all cars need to be electric, it's really hard for a car manufacturer. They're not going to manufacture multiple different versions of cars, right?
Yeah.
They only have one option. It's say, okay, screw you, California, we're not going to make cars for you, or they make all cars electric. And for the most part, they're going to go with the second one because we buy a lot of cars.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough. But
and not only that, it was funny. There was a side story, and I can't remember where it came from, but so don't quote me on this. But it was basically about the fact that right now they're giving the government's giving you like $8,000 or something towards an electric vehicle,
right?
And that GM, I think it was GM and Ford, happened to just raise the price of their vehicles by $8,000.
Ah.
So in other words, it doesn't matter what they give you to afford this car. They still have to make their money, so they're just going to raise the price on you.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I'm
hoping that they realize that the electric vehicle is not sustainable. You can't continue to mine the rare minerals for the batteries. You can't dispose of the batteries. So I'm hoping that they go towards hydrogen, because hydrogen is more sustainable. Right now, we don't have the infrastructure, especially in the valley, in the Bay Area. They kind of do. But if they increase the infrastructure to be able to power your hydrogen cars, the exhaust is water, and it doesn't require a big battery. It has a little battery, just like your regular car has a battery, and it's really a much better solution than the electric cars. But the problem is, people are making a lot of money off of electric cars right now.
Yeah,
so that's where the money is.
Something that's important too is that, and this is a big one. So I think we've talked about this a lot, but people lose sight of where your energy comes from.
Right, exactly. A
So
lot of
they
people
go-
don't know. They plug their device into the wall and boom,
Yeah,
it works.
it's this idea of like, yeah, but it's important because it's going to save the earth, right? It's super important to have electric cars because the earth is dying. And it's like, okay, but guess the energy that comes through your wall, yes, it's electricity. But where does the electricity come from? Well, this is from the EIA.gov, the U.S. Energy Information Administration. As of 2022, 2.8% of all energy is solar.
Yep.
2.8.
What? That's it?
2.8%. Everything else is essentially fossil fuels, natural gas, coal, petroleum liquids, petroleum coke, other gases, nuclear. We have a big 6% hydropower, but that's no longer renewable.
Yeah.
So that's where we got, guys. We have
And nuclear.
0.1 is solar thermal from, we have 1.3 is biomass. Now, what is biomass? It literally just says wood. That means your forests that you care so much about.
Yeah, it's not like your garbage. You're not burning the garbage.
Actually, some places do burn garbage as biomass.
Well,
and
no, they
people
do.
around them hate it.
Yeah, landfill gas.
No,
Yeah, that's
they
a big
do.
one.
But
Yeah.
remember, we did a story where they talked about that the garbage doesn't get hot enough, so they have to have to substitute trees in there to get the fire hot enough to actually produce electricity.
Yes.
So you're burning garbage, but you're also burning your forest still because you have to get that fire so hot to actually do anything to turn that turbine.
Good observation.
So, anyways.
Well, here's the other.
We've been trying to go
point.
solar.
Well,
Yeah.
I was just going to say, and here's the other point to that too, is that we go back to this. So is it virtue signaling, right? You say, okay, well, Gavin Newsom is saying that, we have to have cars. Well, that's virtue signaling. He just wants to run for higher office. Okay. But when we go back to this, what you're talking about, which is very interesting, when you have these unelected bureaucrats now that are setting regulations that's going to affect our lives, this California Air Resources Board.
Right. What did they do to you? How did they hurt you?
Huh?
Because you hate them as much as I hate Kevin Moose.
I don't hate anybody. My point is that we go back to what we said. These guys are unelected, and they're creating policy that are going to directly affect our lives from now going on. I mean, you've got how many people depend on using. I mean, we talked about before we even started the show the gas mowers, the gas blowers, and all this stuff. Okay, it's going to go to electric. You have to force those guys to buy all new equipment, right? Like landscapers. They have to buy, this is just a little sect of it, a little part. They have to buy all new equipment, and it's electrical, all right? It's rechargeable. So they have to buy all these extra batteries. They're going to have to plug them all in. Where are they getting electricity for this? This isn't helping anything.
Right.
From the
that's
grid,
the problem.
and the grid is using biomass, nuclear.
Yeah,
all this
exactly.
other fossil fuels.
So anyway, I'm sorry, Max, to cut you off. What was
No,
your point?
I don't know what I was saying. I was just complaining more because it's just.
No, you're
people-
talking about the solar. You were going back into the solar thing.
Oh, I was just saying that. Yeah, we've spent literally trillions of dollars of taxpayers' money throughout the last 25 years in pushing solar energy, and we're at 2.8% still.
Yay!
Yeah, and we're talking the Obama years with Solyndra. I mean, all these companies.
Biden just signed the new Inflation Reduction Act,
Solar Act.
and now the Inflation Reduction Act. I don't know if everybody saw the spending. Like 95% of it goes into pushing solar energy.
Is it really?
Yeah,
I didn't see all that.
So let's think about this. Do you think we're really going to go another? Do you think we're going to jump from 2.8 to 100% with that? No. We're going to stay at about 2.8%. Because the truth is, it's impossible. So we're going to buy all these electric cars, and this is what we're going to do to power those electric cars. We're going to be buying oil from other countries to fuel our electrical grid because we stopped getting oil here.
Yeah,
so
and natural gas.
We're pushing our electric cars.
But we'll have that big battery in Morro Bay to store all the extra energy, so we need it later.
And we're going to get that energy from burning oil that we buy from other countries, which don't do as much safety regulations and treat people like garbage and use child labor and abuse women.
Okay,
that's where we're putting our money. There we go.
For everyone
Congratulations.
listening. For everyone listening, just real quick, this all ties back into this ESG score crap. That basically it's all about control, and it's about people that have the money to buy their way out of these schemes, these basically pyramid type schemes, and nobody else does. So everybody else on the bottom of the pyramid, we're all screwed.
I'm kind of missing being duct taped to the stacks about now.
All right, let's hear.
No, but here's what I want to say. But we did have a politician who did speak out and say something about that, and you had a story about that.
Oh,
Who
that's
was
right.
that?
Thank you. And this happening. We're bringing this whole thing came because it has to do with Clovis, California, here in the Central Valley.
Okay, now I'm excited.
It's all because Republican Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy did not mince words on California decision to ban gas-powered cars starting in 2035.
What did he say?
He says, quote, "I think the policy is bad and stupid, and it's only going to harm people from the standpoint that the government is going to dictate what you can buy." Dictate through administration. Here we are.
Wait, that's an interesting word, isn't it?
It's
that
an interesting
he
word.
chose that specifically. Dictate what you can buy.
100%.
Wow. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So anyways, that's it. He said it's dumb and stupid. He also repeated the phrase often that inflation has eaten a month's worth of salary for the average American. Yep. This is only going to make inflation worse because cars are going to become much more expensive. So that's going to be really interesting.
What was that about electric truck there? I just
Where's that?
Is an electric truck really going to work when it comes to tilling? What does it say?
I don't even see this quote.
Tilling the farmland. It's right here. You have it. The scroll right there. You had up one more. Tilling the farmland. Is it really gonna? Is it really going to work? I mean, that's true. Here's the other point somebody made. You have these big combines and stuff, and all this farm equipment, not even just trucks. I mean, we're talking about the actual equipment that goes out on the, and works the land, is tractors and stuff. They're supposed to be electric, and they're pushing and selling electric. Well, when these things are out in the middle, you have these farmers talking about these things are running sometimes 24 hours a day when they're harvesting.
Oh, yeah.
So what are you going to do? Are you going to have these people running back and forth, changing out batteries
Big extension cords?
Yeah, I mean,
so you can
how
plug
are you
it in
going
the
to run
wall,
these
and
machines
that way all the oil and stuff
when they're
burn
rechargeable? How are you going to do it when they're rechargeable?
Also, have you ever used an electric drill and you use it a couple of times and then it's hard to drill into something? And the electric drill just goes.
It just bogs down.
Yeah, and you're going. This is useless.
It's the battery power.
Yeah,
it's
the battery
battery
pack's
juice.
garbage.
Yeah. So anyway,
batteries are not the future.
So that was, and he came to Clovis and he said that, huh?
Yeah, I was in Clovis, California.
Good for him. I like
right here in the Central Valley. Okay, let's change it up, guys. Let's get into something. Let's get into something
really
good
fun.
news. California is about to be served restaurant closures with a side of higher prices.
I love this story.
This is a great story. This comes from GV Wire. Here we go. This is a new bill. This bill is called Assembly Bill 257, the Fast Food Accountability and Standards Recovery Act, or the FAST Act. See what they did there? They like doing this. What it does is it sounds nice. It's the Fast Food Accountability and Standards Recovery Act.
They're going to make food safer for fast food safer, correct?
But what it does, it will forever change the restaurant industry in that it's if it becomes law, it will increase food prices through a de facto tax on meals. It will also especially hit inflation for low and middle income families. So this comes from a Senate floor analysis that would establish sector-wide minimum standards on wages, working hours, and other working conditions related to the health, safety, and welfare of, and supplying the necessary cost, this is what's tricky here, the necessary cost of proper living to fast food restaurant workers. So that's above and beyond what we currently have, which is we have safety from OSHA, we have safety from the FDA, we have safety from the EPA, we have safety regulations for restaurant workers, right, for all workers. We also have minimum wages, but this is additionally, because this is no longer minimum wage, this is the necessary cost of proper living. So, how does this get run?
Yeah.
This ties into exactly what you're talking about. It's a 13-member committee that are appointed by the governor and Senate and assembly leaders. What do you know? Administration.
More administration.
5 would be representatives of the state, including the Secretary of Labor and Workforce Development, while the rest of the membership would represent fast food restaurant employees. These would be advocates for fast food restaurant workers. Let's see here. This would, quote, act as a labor union for the employees. The difference being when a labor union negotiates with management, there are usually concessions by both parties. However, in this case, since it's run by state administration, the state would dictate the terms of employment in private companies, as it holds an unchallengeable power base on the council.
Yeah.
Think about that.
That's scary.
It's a council that the state has an unchallengeable power base, which means the state dictates what every possible company can do.
This is basically a mob model.
This is dictatorship.
This is dictatorship. This is like the mob. You come in, you're going to pay your dues.
This is additionally, this is what people don't understand.
Hey, Fredo, go over there and get that guy. Forget about it.
This additionally changes the franchise food model, which roots trace back to 300 years in California. I don't know if you guys know much about franchises and how they work. When you own a restaurant chain and you want to franchise it out, say I sell it to Stu over here.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah. I say, Stu, you can take this franchise, you own it, whatever.
Great.
Uncle Buddies.
Uncle Buddies, right?
Franchise.
Oh man, I went tater tots.
There are franchise agreements that waive liability between me and Mark. So somebody gets hurt in his company, right, in his restaurant. It's not my fault.
They fall into a food processor.
Right? That's not my fault because let's say it's Max's Restaurants, but I let Marty be the franchisor.
I own the franchise. That's my
He
responsibility.
bought the rights to use the name and everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
AB 252 removes that
hell no.
that liability. Which means, quote, and this is from the story here, there are currently 35,000 franchises, which are small businesses in California. The FAST Act would discourage franchisors from increasing their presence in the state. And rather than getting more involved in running franchises to avoid liability, many franchisors would choose to shut down their California operations. They would also relocate to more business-friendly states. Because what would happen is, I'm not going to sit here and go, wait a second, all of my Max's restaurants...
Like McDonald's. You imagine McDonald's a nightmare.
Can you imagine?
McDonald's are everywhere.
Can you imagine McDonald's Corporation
Ronald
saying,
McDonald's
wait,
gonna
are
pull
you
his
kidding
red
me?
hair out.
I'm now responsible for every time somebody slips and falls in a restaurant?
But wait. That's going to be the caveat, though, is that the bigger corporations, McDonald's, Burger King, all these guys, they will have buying out power, and they'll have loopholes and exclusions for them. But if you have a smaller mom and pop business that are trying to sell some franchises and build up, you won't be able to do it because you'll be on the hook.
You're not going to be able to encourage people to come in big franchises to invest in California. Then it's okay, well, the mom and pops will go in there. Mom and pops cannot afford to go in there right now because you got to pay all the employees a livable wage where, like restaurants, fast food, that's all entry-level jobs. They were originally created as so your kid can go out and get his first job and move on. Problem is, a lot of these people never moved on, and they're there, and they're going, well, I have to work 3 jobs in order to feed my family. Well, I'm sorry, you stayed in an entry-level job. You should have moved up and moved on, but that's what you decided to do, or that's what, if you want to say that's what society forced you to do. But that's a lot of the problem is... And mom pops cannot come in and afford to pay $15 an hour or more.
You wish it was 15. To an employee. The new living wage that's calculated via this bill would be 22 to 43 based on the number of dependents that work with you.
What? $43 an hour?
$43 based on your number, based on how many dependents you have. That's what this bill would do.
Can you add dogs and cats as far as dependents?
This is what it says. This is not me making this up. This is a study by the University of California, Riverside, their School of Business Center for Economic Forecasting and Development, who was worked on analyzing this bill for the state of California. They said its potential to boost inflation would increase the prices at restaurants by 20 to 22%. 20 to 22%. Price increase on restaurants. The university says, quote, this is, of course, is going to affect lower to middle income families the most. They said, additionally, if they calculate this at the living wage that they are currently calculating it at, that is 22 to 43 based on your number of dependents. That's in the bill.
Hold on. It smells of socialism, Max. Yeah, really bad. I can hear it, smell it. It's reeking.
Keep in mind, they said 20 to 22% increase on restaurants. But they said, even if, this is a quote, even if fast food prices only rose by 7%, which is the lowest end of the estimate, that would exacerbate the effects of our steep inflation rate that is already causing Americans to go hungry. And it will add, quote, tremendous stress on low-income households. We can expect a very sharp increase in food costs from the affected restaurants, and that could push these families to the breaking point, given the financial pressures working families already feel from rising rents, gas, and other necessities.
As it is, I can't afford to eat at Carl's Jr. It's too expensive. McDonald's is getting high, too. I'm going, oh, my God. For what I could buy me and my 2 kids something to eat at McDonald's, back in the day, back in the 70s, I could go in there and order everything on the menu and still have change.
Well, no, no, we're not even talking back in the 70s. I mean, a few years ago, pre-COVID, you could go in there, a Trump era, and buy everything for, $20, $25 for a family. Okay.
That's true.
And supersize everything. Now you go in there, and it's about $35, $40
easy.
For the same size family, for the same meals.
For the same garbage food.
Yeah, for the same, this is...
Here's the thing that people don't understand. They say that the advocates for this bill argue that higher food prices are an acceptable trade-off for improving fast food employees' working conditions and wages. However, there are no guarantees that it would benefit workers, as the sponsors claim. Additionally, this is what people don't realize. Should the state become workers' representatives through the council, which they would, this would override fast food workers' freedom of association, even more than labor unions. That comes from a Pepperdine University economics study. It would also mean declining fast food industry employment. While employees who keep their jobs might be better off with higher rates, though higher employer labor cost will cause the industry to shrink. We'll have lower establishments and fewer jobs. So, of course, you're not going to have... Yeah, sure, the 5 people who are still working in the industry are going to be doing okay, but nobody's going to go to that restaurant anymore. I'm not going to be going to McDonald's when it's costing me $20 a burger.
Well, and then those 5 people will be gone because they'll figure out a way to automate it, Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they won't even need any.
Yeah, they're not gonna have
Imagine, though,
jobs.
hiring someone and they go, well, how many people do you have at home? Well, I have 8 kids. Okay, I
And-
can't
and-
afford to hire you. I can't afford to pay you.
Yeah.
I mean,
all the
you
money.
guys
And,
have
and,
gone-
and in the meantime, though, I'd like to see what the salaries of this board that they're putting in place
Oh,
will
right.
be, which are probably going to be upwards of way over $100,000 a year.
Yeah, and how they're going to benefit from this law.
I mean,
Yeah.
I want people to understand. Hope people understand that what's already happening at McDonald's. You guys have been to a McDonald's where they have the kiosks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've already eliminated the majority of people there.
Yeah.
They're also, I don't know if anybody sees this, McDonald's is going all in on drive-through automation as it fights the labor crisis.
There you go.
They've already done 10 voice-recognized software in 10 drive-thrus. They're giving investment in AI, which will give a future advantage in all they're doing. It's called the Drive-Through Tech Lab,
Oh, my gosh.
which means they're literally going to get rid of, they said, quote, our AI technology will provide faster, simpler, and more accurate order taking at our drive-thrus. They are literally getting rid of all employees. So, like, fantastic, guys. You're going to make 43 hours, but you're not going to
$43
have...
an hour, yeah.
Oh, yeah, $43 an hour. You're not, what did I say, 43 hours?
You're not going to have 43 hours.
You're not going to have 43 hours. You're going to have zero working
At
hours.
$43 an hour, you may work about 2 hours a week.
Like, the other thing that people don't realize is the burger automation technology. I don't know if people understand this, that this is huge. Like, there's a lot of money going into
like
the...
a cheeseburger.
Well, like the actual burger machines. It's massive.
I mean, they haven't talked about. You don't hear a lot of news stories about this, but you're saying that the automated technology is already super advanced. I mean,
they
it's almost-
already made. It's
ready to go.
Restaurants are already using these. They're full burger making. They take your orders, and by the end, your finished fresh burger comes out. Like
So essentially, you would have you could say you'd have an all automated McDonald's, and you maybe have 1 or 2 people, maybe a IT guy or gal,
Maybe.
or and a maintenance persons that can, so you're paying a couple of people to go in there and just make sure everything is just continually working, and so you're paying them $43 an hour,
right.
but all the other jobs are gone.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen this.
How are we
This
going to
is-
support these poor people?
There's a restaurant. There's a restaurant that opened in 2018 called Creator in San Francisco, and it's awesome. And because there's nobody working at this restaurant, burgers are only $6 in San Francisco.
Nice. A
And
$6 burger in San Francisco?
It's crazy,
Heck
right?
yeah, let's get in the car.
You
Wow.
walk in, and this machine will fresh slice your tomatoes, flip your burger, toast your bun, deposit all the stuff on it.
And you can watch it doing
Watch it do it.
Oh, it's amazing.
Shred your lettuce. Put the different cheese toppings on, freshly grate, form your patty, make your patty, put it on the burger, flip it, and it's all automated.
Does it have a little container full of spit where it spits on your food?
Robot spit.
It doesn't wash some of its
if you,
hands after it uses
insult
the
it.
bathroom?
Yeah, sometimes it accidentally leaks oil on your
There you
burgers.
go. That's fine, though. Jeez, it's full of
Wow, that is scary. I mean, do people understand what's going on here? Everybody. I guess they don't, because this.
They really don't.
Who's going to be able to afford burgers? Who's going to be able to what companies or businesses are going to be able to stay open? You essentially, this is going to be Demolition Man, and you have one chain that survives.
Taco Bell.
Yep.
Taco Bell survives, and that's
But
it.
see, also it's like, okay, so are you getting all these pay raises to be competitive with people
No.
working at McDonald's?
No,
I'm
of course not.
So
Right.
it's just like,
Yeah.
someone who works at McDonald's and has 12 kids lives next to me now.
Yeah, and you're not going to be able to go and afford McDonald's.
But
no.
you think that person's going to be working, but they're not. That's the problem. You know.
They're just pushing the buttons for the automated machine.
They're not going to be working. No, but I mean, they're not even going to be working, because if they have 12 kids, and the company's going to be like, well, I'm sorry, somehow they're going to find a loophole to not hire that person because they got to pay them too much.
It's soon to be.
And
you
I'm
cannot ask about
surprised.
their dependents when you hire them.
Well, the other point too, real quick, is I'm surprised the unions aren't like just screaming at the top of their lungs about this.
Oh yeah.
all right.
They must be getting paid off somehow, somewhere, because I don't hear a peep from the unions about this.
Yep.
If you have
Nothing.
the assemblies and just make up the rules as they go along and do whatever they want. Screw democracy.
Well, they probably will tell the unions that they'll bring the unions in and kind of absorb them, and no, you guys will be taken care of. Don't worry.
Now I want to go to San Francisco and get one of these automated.
Yeah, and
burgers.
actually, what they do is
after you walk all the filth in the streets of the San Francisco,
trip
go get
over
it.
the homeless people and wait in line with the rest of them.
And keep in mind, like, they make ground to order burgers. Like, they actually grind the meat for you and everything.
Oh my gosh!
And they're opening these, or you can actually purchase these machines from
Franchises.
Creator. There's also Robo
franchises.
Burger,
Yeah.
which is another company,
Robo
which is
Burger.
this machine is awesome. It's literally the size of a vending machine.
Oh, that's amazing.
And you can put them anywhere, and they make fresh burgers for you.
They're a little human in there making the
Yeah,
burger.
I mean,
real
it will
That
literally
is a little hamster in a
dispense,
wheel.
grill, make the whole thing, put it in a
fast.
box,
They're probably delicious.
and they're fresh. Like so.
Can we get one for the studio? Put it in the garage.
Oh my
here?
god, I would love. You can actually sign up to buy one in your.
We
Is
need
your
one for the
location a
studio.
good fit for a Robo?
Instead of buy us a coffee, it'd be buy us a Robo Burger.
I would freaking love to have a Robo Burger. I'd get so fat. Oh my god! It
Can
also.
you imagine it right there by your couch, Robo Burger,
so
right next to
cool.
your
Burger
couch.
me.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I need a Robo Burger.
This is scary, people. I mean, it's
People
not.
don't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
Future people.
Jeez, we have a lot to talk about. We're not going to get to it all. Let me just.
Do we have anything fun?
Yeah, we do. We got 10 minutes here. I want to talk. Oh, fun. Well, let me skip over. Yeah. How about a new brewery?
I love beer.
Yeah, Marty. What is this?
Oh, so Clovis is opening a new brewery, which is awesome. It's called Two Ravens.
Oh,
And it's located on Shawn Academy, which is there's not a lot out at
Shawn Academy. That's my
Okay.
old stomping ground.
Yeah,
That's where I
so,
grew up.
you know,
Yeah.
Fresno's always expanding its sphere of influence. So it's a brand new brewery, and it looks really awesome inside. And we should go. We should go do a show. from
Does it
there.
have anything to do with Edgar Allan Poe? Two
No,
Ravens?
we should
no,
do it.
it has to do with North mythology.
North
Because
mythology,
Odin
okay.
had two ravens called Memory and the other guy.
Oh my goodness.
Memory and the
Should we
other
watch
guy?
this
No,
little
Thought
video?
and Memory. It's
Oh,
Thought,
thought
and
and
Memory.
memory. Okay.
Here, let's watch this little news video here
Yeah,
about
sure.
it. Here,
Let's
this
hear
is
it.
from what is this from? This is from
ABC 30?
ABC 30. Here we go.
30 is taking action to highlight local small businesses, including a new brewery and tap room opening very soon. Two Ravens is located on Shaw and Academy in the city of Clovis. A variety of beers are on tap, including lagers, IPAs, stouts, and sours. The name is a nod to Norse mythology, which features two social ravens who report to Odin. Okay. The brewery owner says he wants to
Guys,
bring
we
that
really got
same
through that.
social
Hilarious.
atmosphere to the neighborhood.
I wanted to bring something here. We don't have much out here, so we're kind of marrying this with the restaurant next door. They're providing a craft menu for us, so we'll have food, some good beer, and lots to do here.
Yeah, Two Ravens hopes to be a place for the whole
Two
family with
Ravens.
entertainment such as darts and shuffleboard and Monday Night Football. The kids can sip on homemade sodas. The brewery and tap room opens Labor Day weekend.
There's not much. I mean, I grew up out in the country. It was just like the feed store and the Johnny Quick. So to
Not
see
anymore.
a brewery, a
Yeah.
lot of growth out there.
Very cool. All right.
Thank you, ABC 30, for that.
So, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about where this is, though. I grew up there. I grew up in that area. The location that this is at,
Social you
it's
would not
right
in
on
the
Shawn
city of-
Academy. For those of you who grew up in that area, it is in the old movie rental spot. You guys remember the old movie rental area out there? Well, the movie rental spot that was there was famous because it was, first of all, it was the only movie rental spot in
Out in the country.
20 miles, right, back
Yeah.
then. But they had a dog that would bring they had a doggy door, and they would if you came and waved, she would put the movie in the dog's mouth. It was a golden retriever, and the golden retriever would come out to your car and bring you your movies. And when you had to come return your movies, you just pull in and park, and this old dog would come out, and you put it in the dog's mouth, and it would walk in and return your movies
that
for you.
is so cool.
It was awesome.
Did the dog
Now-
pick movies for you too?
It always brought me Air Bud.
Oh, that's
That was interesting. Yeah.
Well, now you're talking about the old mom and pop rental shops. This is before
Yes.
like Blockbuster.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
all
yeah,
those
yeah.
guys took over, right? This
100%.
This I love those. The old mom and pop shops. That's
Right.
great. I wonder how much they paid that poor canine
Probably
to do
about
all that work.
$40.
About
Yeah.
43. It had a
I
lot
don't
of
know how many pups the canine
Yeah,
had.
had a lot of pups. So I wish I could remember the name. If anybody listening out there remembers the name of the movie rental place off Shawn Academy with the dog, I'd really appreciate that.
I hear they paid the dog in biscuits though, and it wasn't cash. So you get 43 biscuits.
Ah,
for
okay.
your,
Gotcha,
An
yeah,
hour
yeah.
for your. For your
That's it.
troubles
It's
there.
called so Two Ravens. It's on Shawn Academy. You're not going to miss it. There's a big Johnny Quick out there. There's I think there's a Red Caboose restaurant or something. So it's right there.
Hey, have you guys any entertainment picks? Have you guys seen anything new lately?
Like show wise.
Yeah, show wise.
Oh my God. Okay, so I was watching on Hulu. They have a show called This Fool,
Oh, what is this about?
It's about a Mexican-American family in Southern California, around the LA area. One of them just got out of prison, and the other one has him in this program that he runs calls Hugs, Not Thugs.
Okay.
And it's really dumb, but it's just it incorporates, like the inside of a Mexican family, Mexican-American family, and how they live and how they talk. And it's just like really a cute comedy. And if you lived in the Valley, you could really, even if you're not Mexican-American, really relate to this whole family dynamic.
Huh.
And it's really cute, but it's called This Fool on Hulu.
Do they have like half-hour episodes or something?
Yeah, half-hour episodes, yeah.
Okay,
so like
interesting.
10 of them. It's a cute little break from stupid things.
Yeah, I think we need more comedy.
Yeah, especially after this show. So, hey.
I saw, speaking of Hulu, I saw Prey. I watched Prey.
How was it? Was it actually good?
It was really good.
I'm going to say it was good, but yeah, there are a couple parts. I'm like, but there
Just
are.
watch the other Predators and you realize how good it is.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. The last Predator I saw was Predator 2 with, was it Louis Gossett Jr.? Was that Predator 2? Where they're in their city? Like, this is after Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then all of a sudden the Predator ends up in L.A. somehow, right?
Right.
I think it was Louis Gossett Jr., right? Was the star in that. That's the last one I saw. I've never watched any of the Alien ones.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Alien versus Predator. I had no idea what's
I saw
going
the
on
old
with
Predator
that.
movies, yeah.
But it was good because it had some brutality. You got to see what the alien was
So basically,
like.
it takes place in Native American times.
Yeah.
This thing comes in, and this whole tribe is like, all of a sudden, some of these people in the tribe are like, what the heck? And then, of course, there's one, the heroine of the story that basically ends up taking on the Predator.
So it's a woman hero, and so it's like girl power type of thing. But it was still, I didn't get lost in them trying to be woke.
I don't think it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. I think the only thing that I didn't like is I didn't like her little hatchet. She had like vines, and she had like this weapon that she created, and it's a hatchet, regular hatchet that like they would use, like a tomahawk, and then she tied a rope, whatever native rope they would have, right? Like back in those days, the ancient rope. And she tied, but this thing all of a sudden it was like a bungee cord because she would throw it and then it would be like a boomerang and come back into her hand.
It's kind of like that little ball and paddle thing. You go dunk, dunk, dunk.
Yeah,
how many times that thing hits you in the eye?
So
that would have killed her.
So she invented this thing, and I'm like, that thing would have snapped. Things like that. I'm like, do you have to do that?
It would come back to you and impale in your chest.
Yeah. I'm like, do you have to really do it? I mean, she's throwing this thing like crazy, hitting all these trees, and then pulling it out and it's whipping back in her hand. I'm like, come on. But
what was the show that you said, Marty? I want to make sure I get that in there.
This
Hugs,
Fool.
Not Thugs? Oh, This Fool.
This Fool. Yeah. That's on Netflix, or?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Netflix and then Prey, yeah. I also saw House of Dragons. I started that.
I haven't started that.
And
my Parasite account on HBO, I forgot the password, so I got to get a hold of my Parasite provider.
That's HBO.
My host.
HBO?
That's HBO, yeah, House of Dragons. It's not bad. I'm still scarred from Game of Thrones.
I never finished the last season.
I'm still scarred of Game of
it.
Thrones, so I'm kind of watching it with different eyes. I'm like into it, but I'm not. I mean, it's okay, but of course, it did kind of start off wokish, but it's okay. But I'm not gonna get too connected to it or too involved with it. Unfortunately, Game of Thrones scarred me. I'm sorry, So anyway, that's a new one.
See, wokeism kind of ruined the Sandman.
Oh, Sandman! You told me that. Not that good.
Oh,
yeah.
That's not too. My wife wanted to watch
okay.
that.
It's good, but there are just parts where it's way too woke.
Yeah.
And if two people of the same sex, lock eyes, they're going to end up having sex.
Right.
No matter.
Right.
Don't look at
Is
me.
this in the show?
Don't look at me.
Is this in the show?
Yeah, in the show.
Really? So it's just like people locking eyes and having. I've never even read the comic books. I don't know.
It's just like because everyone's just attracted to everyone else. Love is
gotcha.
love.
Okay.
So,
Love is love.
It's just no matter what. Even though you have a wife and kid, so oh my God, this guy looked at me. I'm feeling attracted to him suddenly.
Yeah.
I got finished watching real quick. I know we're almost out of time. One more for me, Russian Doll. That season 2 of that was a total mind trip. It's basically in the beginning it was kind of like a Groundhog Day-esque kind of show with what's her name, Natasha. She was in American Pie.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember her name.
Natasha Lyonne, right?
Yeah, Natasha Lyonne. And it's very interesting. But so it is kind of cool. But you really have to pay attention to it. It's one of those you really have to kind of watch to figure out what's going on. You can't just walk away and but pretty good. So season 2 wasn't bad.
Yeah.
What about you, Max? Usually you're...
Yeah, I've been reading Philip Drew, Administrator, A Story of Tomorrow. Highly recommended. It's it's essentially an autobiography of the Colonel himself and his story of the conundrum of how to get rid of the Constitution. So
Interesting.
highly recommended.
I think we should make a movie about that.
Highly recommended.
Short film.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a no. But show wise, honestly, what I've been watching, which is kind of fun. I have been watching the cartoon of the Teen Titans cartoon on
I've seen
HBO
Teen
Max.
Titans. Yeah, those are fun.
Really?
Those are fun. Yeah.
Because a lot of times, even the Batman animated series, they're better than the movies.
Oh yeah. Much better.
They could do more, and they can get away with more things, and they don't have to, deal with the big studios.
It's called Young Justice, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Young Justice on HBO.
Huh.
I've been watching that. Just kind of, I don't have a lot of time right now. But I've been watching Young Justice.
Well, those late nights, man, when you're up late. And,
That's it, yeah. Besides that, an entertainment pick coming up. December, this is first announcement, December 9th, 10th, 11th, and then 16th, 17th. There'll be a production,
Really?
a highly rated production of It's a Wonderful Life, the radio play.
Really?
Happening. And more details to come, but save the dates. December 9th, 10th, 11th, 16th, 17th.
Nice.
Highly rated. People love it.
Yeah.
Great director.
I hear
Starring
it's got,
an amazing
great
team.
director and a great cast.
Yeah, great cast. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Yes, also, very important things, guys. What you're going to need to do, you're going to go to nofocusradio.com. And this is actually, once again, I'm gonna say this. If you enjoy the show, if you find that it's if you like listening to it, we don't ask you for much. We don't, we don't make you pay. And, you think about, you pay $8, $12, $15 a month or whatever for Netflix, for all these things. If you get a couple hours a week from us, 2 hours a week, you get 2, 4, 6, 8 hours a month from us.
Yeah.
And if you listen to 8 hours a month from us, is it worth $2? Is it worth $2 for 8 hours of entertainment? If it is, maybe it's worth more. Just go to nofocusradio.com. There'll be a link there that says, buy us a coffee and join the club.
We're hoping to get enough to afford a cheeseburger.
That'd
so
be
we
great.
Can split it.
A cheeseburger machine.
If you do decide to join the club, we have a couple different levels there. A lot of different things you can get. One of them comes with a hat, a guest spot on the show, as well as a full library of our old shows.
I never agreed to clean a person's pool. What's up with that one?
Oh, yeah, Marty will come clean your pool. Yeah, he's got
a Speedo. Okay, I'm in there.
Yeah.
I gotta wear a Speedo.
So check it out. Do that. Also, while you're on there, vote on the polls. And check out Pardon the Intermission by The Doorman.
And our Discord server.
Join our Discord server. It's actually a lot of fun. A lot of fun
We're
stuff.
We're on there all day long.
If you have a story idea, an event, you want to pitch something for a guest, sponsorship, contact us. That's on there as well. So thank you very much for listening. Stay tuned.
And remember, 5 stars is always the correct number of stars.
Unless you could do 11.